Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be the Insurrection Act versus we, the people. Okay, so I kind of teased this yesterday whenever I was talking about some of the just most beautiful imagery that I have been kind of seeing in some of my meditative work, and I wanted to share that here with you because it's just fantastic. Okay, first of all, yes, I am going to be doing a reading into, like, are they going to invoke the Insurrection Act? I fully expect that they are. What were some of the other questions I had? Oh, base reading into like what are their reaction going to be, like what are they thinking about what they saw, what they're going to see on Saturday, and then also will they try to invoke the Insurrection Act, and how will they respond, or how will they respond to we the people. Okay, so some of this imagery that I have been getting, I mentioned yesterday that what I saw was, like, I was meditating and I saw this imagery of like the federal government, like stacking sandbags on a beach, not really paying attention to what was going on, and that these little sandbags were like to prepare for high tide. But then, like, somebody turned around and just saw this wall of water, and said, "I don't think we have enough sandbags and they're not going to be. We are going to overwhelm them with our pro-democracy joyful message." Okay, on Saturday, and I want to look into, like, what do they think about that. And then the other thing that I've been kind of getting, as I said, when I'm meditating, I'm kind of seeing this. I really like the Grinch that stole Christmas, and if you've been with me for a while, my intuition just works really weird. I always get like images, usually from like movies, from sitcoms, song lyrics, like, all that kind of stuff, pop culture type stuff. And so I've been seeing one thing that I've been seeing is like when little Cindy Lou Who, I know, gets out of bed and she's like, why are you taking our Christmas tree? And like everything is just gone. I mean, he didn't even leave a crumb as small, for a mouse. That's what I'm seeing when this administration falls, and that they all just, I'm like seeing them flee like little cockroaches scurrying off into, like, into the dark crevices of our society. And that's what the Oval Office looks like. They've ripped all that, thank God they've ripped all that gaudy gold stuff off the walls. It's like, okay, if that's what you want to take whenever you flee, go right for it. Go ahead. I don't care. Get rid of all that gaudy shit. And that we will get to see that Board of Governors, or, whatever that interim thing is, whatever is going, we're going to get to see that. Okay. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Well, then I've been like seeing like the end scene whenever all the little Who's, I know it's hysterical, but just hang in there with me, okay? Are standing around, the Christmas, or there wasn't even a Christmas tree, and that the Grinch was like, and they start singing, and so the Grinch is like, wait, what is that? Like, he's so surprised that they're singing. And so I'm like, well, that's really weird that I'm seeing. I'm kind of sitting there, I've been sitting with this for, a week or so, going, I'm really a, Christmas stay in your lane kind of person, except for Nightmare Before Christmas. That is the exception. It's both Halloween and Christmas, and I digress. But, and then it finally dawned on me what it was. And this is the most beautiful imagery I can even think of. So just bear with me. When, not if, as I said, I'm going to do I am going to do the cards on this. When they invoke the Insurrection Act, part of that is the, suspending our Constitution. I mean, I'm going to be real honest, that's what that is. And trying to declare martial law and all that. I mean, it's Stephen Miller's wet dream. We all know that. However, our Constitution starts with the three words, we the people. Okay? We the people embody the spirit of our Constitution. And and then you bring in the numerology that I got into this, which is our life path, our destiny for our country is five, which is the Hierophant card. And with me, I should have had that card pulled out. Oh, it's right here. Literally, it was like the next to the last card on the bottom. So this card, and I say this embodies, it's like the spirit of these institutions. We, the people, we are the embodiment of these institutions. So it's almost like they could try to suspend the Constitution, but it's like, no. I mean, we, the people, have a government formed by the people for the people, and that we embody the spirit of our Constitution, and that they can't take that away. They may try, but, and say it with me, it is not in the DNA of the American people to be ruled by a wannabe dictator. And the reason for that is because we, the people. Okay, so what I'm seeing is, and the way that finally came, like really crystal clear was, instead of singing the Who song about Christmas, we're singing "Do You Hear the People Sing?" I love that musical, by the way, from Les Mis. So if you are, so little shout out here to, if you're a community organizer, you belong to a community, group like that, an activist group, we need to figure out what our anthem is going to be, because I do see, like, there comes a point when they can't stop us. And they're not going to, they may try, but they're not going to. And that we have our voices that will continue to be heard, and that we're not going to stop until they get the fuck out of the people's house. And so that was kind of that imagery that I get. So, and I do want to mention a little shout out here. I've changed my description. It's a more accurate description for kind of like what I do, combining psychology and tarot together. I have information there if you want a private reading. I do not do private readings. However, my tarot mentor, she does, and her information is there. If you like how I read very similar to her, because as I said, she's my tarot mentor, so you'll love her. I am, however, available to collaborate with pro-democracy activist groups. I don't know what that looks like, but I draw on, I have a master's in counseling. I draw on that, and I would love to collaborate with any of you and be of service any way that I can. So just want to do a little shout out for that. So yeah, we the people. So this reading is going to be the Insurrection Act versus we the people. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only. And first thing I want to know is, I want to know their reaction to Saturday. I want to know what their reaction is going to be to what they see on Saturday. So, point of view from, the Trump administration. What do they think? What are they going to think of what they see on Saturday? Okay. I did say for entertainment purposes only. It's like what they see our joy. Okay? They absolutely see it, and this terrifies them. And you can see it. The more joyful they are, the more hateful they are. And the more hateful they are, the more joyful we are. And we're just going to remember, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Whatever they meet us with, we are going to meet them with the complete opposite, okay? As safely as we can, as joyful as we can, okay? I know that that's not always going to be possible, but there are going to be instances where where that may be different, but I'm talking about in general, overall, they see our joy, and that we are meeting this moment with joy, okay? And the challenge to this is the Ace of Pentacles. Let me keep going, because this is more, because this is like feeling, and then like the physical, like the emotional and the physical. Okay, so let me keep going with that, because that's pretty cool that those are both aces. I think that they're realizing that they can't stop this, is what I'm yeah. King of Swords. Somebody, I wonder if there's not going to be a court, and the courts or the military that steps in and is like, we're not doing this going forward. And see this balance of the, the chariot, the 2 going forward. We've got the 2 here, the double-edged sword, creation. And, this is, what did I say in that last reading? What are we create? A lasting, like we're not giving up. We'll do this forever. We will do this forever. That infinity sign here. We will keep doing whatever we need to create the long-lasting democracy for our country. Okay, that's what I'm seeing here. It's like we have everything we need to create and to go forward with this. And then from the point of view, I'm also looking at the point of view of the Trump administration and the bully wand. And these are all aces. Seriously, what I'm feeling like, what they're seeing is they can't stop this. They absolutely cannot stop this message that we're going forward. Wow. Okay, let me just kind of see. Let me do more on this King of Swords. What is this King of Swords? And I did get that the military, absolutely, they will not obey an illegal order. And I even got that they would protect the protesters. And then after that reading, there was a general, someone in Oregon that was testifying that their mission is to protect the protesters. So I'm kind of feeling like that absolutely is still there. Okay, in this King of Swords, waiting, the big truth that they're getting ready to see, and the new beginnings, and the Fool card with the new beginnings, and then these new beginnings with the aces. Yeah, I think that they realize they can't stop this. They are absolutely terrified. Good for them. I hope they have the day they deserve watching all of us peacefully protest, which is a direct, opposite of the lies that they're spewing. They can't even call it a No Kings protest. They have to call it a what? Hate America. And it's like, no, that's not us. And actually, if you notice, some of that stuff that little Maggot Mike and his little Johnson was saying, like it was like they hate America. It was everything that they said about the resistance. If you take that out and flip that script and make it about them, it's like, oh yeah, projection and confession. And I will say, this is where, that's not an intuitive moment. This is where kind of like my background in psychology really comes in, is that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And so a lot of this is like, I see those patterns, because of my training, not only, in my experience with tarot, but also my background in, human behavior, like seeing those patterns and knowing, like, unless they've had a come into Jesus moment, those patterns and those cycles and those archetype, themes are going to keep repeating themselves until we get to the Tower card. And the Tower card, that is that cosmic 2x4 that will effectuate change. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's going to be on them. They are going to be their own undoing. It's not, all we have to do is stand strong in our joy and being pro-democracy, and that is all going to happen. They're going to do this to themselves. Okay, we don't have to do anything except just hold that line for democracy. And so it's like projection and confession. You see it. It's just like time and time and time and time again. So I'm not going to, we need to not give them the benefit of the doubt. We need to see them for who they are. We need to recognize those patterns and then apply those patterns to said, whatever it is we're looking into. And then I use the cards to kind of create that narrative of the not the story, but the narrative that goes with whatever I'm looking into. So just a little insight there of how I blend these two things together. I want to know now. So yeah, they're going to see this on Saturday and they're going to have an oh shit moment of they can't stop it and they know it and they're going to try, but they can't. Will they try to... I'm going to go ahead and ask, will they try to invoke the Insurrection Act? And if you remember... that little vile cockroach, Stephen Miller, he, on CNN, that plenary authority, and then he stopped and everyone was like, was that a glitch? Like, what happened, with that? Heather Richardson Cox, Heather Cox Richardson. Anyway, however her name is. She had a very, very, very insightful moment into that. Absolutely, psychologically, she explained what could have possibly happened. Invoking the Insurrection Act is Stephen Miller's wet dream. I mean, that I don't even need to do cards on that. I can tell you that right now. And that plenary authority, he is using that, saying that because Trump can invoke the Insurrection Act, no court can stop him. Congress can't stop him from doing this, that he has ultimate power. And in that space, he has the ultimate power to do anything that he wants at all times because he has that power to basically, disregard court orders and the Constitution, and Congress and all of that. So he can bypass everything. So if he can bypass it because of that, then that means he can bypass it everywhere else. That's essentially what Stephen Miller's trying to say. So on that CNN, was it a glitch, or as Heather Cox Richardson Cox said? Okay, now I have to know. Heather Cox Richardson. Okay, thank you for indulging that because I was like, that was going to bother me. Heather Cox Richardson said, was it a glitch, or could it possibly be because Stephen Miller wanted those words to be the last words Trump heard, because he knows that Trump watches him on TV. He knows he watches these interviews of him out there just being god awful. And so he wanted to purposely leave those two words out there for Trump to, seep into those little, demented crevices that he's got going on. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what he did. That little evil bastard him. So anyway, that's what Stephen Miller's doing to try to get Trump to do this. So I want to know, are they going to invoke the Insurrection Act? And remember, we're going to take a deep breath. We've got plenty of time to learn the words to Do You Hear the People Sing? Because that is going to be our response. Okay, will they try to invoke the Insurrection Act? Okay, and with that, let me keep going. Pages are messages, and this is just one of that tangible, receipts. I always say this is somebody bringing the receipts. That's kind of what that card is. And the challenge is, this is the Epstein files. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this just to see that it's not the Epstein files, but I wonder if it's I know Virginia Govry's book is coming out next week, and so I wonder if that's not going to be part and parcel of this it's not going to be any one thing. They think that they're going to be able to shut everything down, because they're going to shut all this shit down with just that simple, what they think it will be a simple thing of the Insurrection Act, but people aren't having it. It's they may try it, but it is the end. I tell you what, it is the end of this administration. So I really don't, I get that, you guys, I really get how serious this is. I do. But the feeling I'm getting is I'm almost excited, and I'm is that in some sick, twisted way? And it's no, it's because that is literally the last gasp of this administration. And that's truly what I'm seeing here. I'm going to keep going here, with the next card, things that we're working on, things that they're planning on it. Yeah, they're absolutely planning on it. And then the outcome is this is not going to have the desired outcome. Okay, this is not going to have their desired outcome at all. So I'm going to do some more on the Seven of Cups. This is Seven of Cups. What is it? Because this is all the possibilities about this Insurrection Act. All of the ways that this, honestly, it's all the ways this is going to go wrong for them. There is, the Mad King, thinking he's all that. It's no. Shine me a light in the darkness. Show me the law that I can manipulate. Planting seeds. They are absolutely planning this. And they think that it's gonna, guys, I'm just not, I mean, I wonder if that his health it's palatable. All the things that we have been saying for months, the intuitives and the stuff, it's like palatable now. It is absolutely making its way in. Every time I see Jack Cocherella, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, call him, President Puddinbrain. I mean, that's what this is. I it's almost this feeling like, well, I don't need to do that because I am king. And it's like, no, you're actually not. So, that or he does it and it's just like, it just kind of falls apart. I mean, it's like he's trying to be all that, I've got the right to do this. And then this is like, I get this feeling of he's trying to roar like a lion, but yet it comes across more like this whisper of nothing, So like this, like almost see this kind of like like think of this almost like as a little kitten, like the mighty roar of the lion versus this little tiny, squeaking of like a little kitten, and the messaging is just not there. Okay, so what about we the people? Because remember, we the people embody the Constitution, and they will never be able to take that away from us. We've had 250 years steeped in this pro-democracy, God bless America, patriotism, and now they think they're going to pull this authoritarian dictator shit that it's not going to work, okay? It is going to fail for them spectacularly. Now, I also want to, remind you, I'm looking at the macro. I understand there are micro, things in this that is just horrendous. Okay, I get that. I really do. But in the big picture, as we take that step back, they've lost. And so now we just have to stand in our joy, hold the line with the resistance, keep doing everything that we're doing, because it's just a matter of time before this administration just it is the curtain call is here. The play is over. The curtain is coming down, and there's not even going to be a final bow, because as soon as that curtain comes down, they're all going to scurry into the dark. Okay, so how will they respond to we the people? Because remember, we embody our Constitution. And our founding fathers gave us a very successful blueprint on how to stand up against an unjust government. And, whereas the Republicans have abdicated their checks and balances, whereas the Supreme Court has, abdicated their responsibility, we the people are not. We are not going to abdicate our responsibility. So how are they going to respond to our strength? And I just realized, if we're using the law of physics of for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, we stand in our strength as holding a mirror up to their weakness. Okay. The justice card, they will be brought to justice. And the challenge is we will hunt you down and find you even if you try to flee. That's the very first thing I thought of when I saw this. And here you've got the outline of the spirit here that it's like, we will find you. We will hunt you down. You think you might try to get out of the country? Guess what? Justice, and I've mentioned, it's kind of like you see, okay, like when an example is like when Stephen Miller had to sit there and they played the AOC clip of her mocking him, and he had to sit there and watch it. And it's like, just think of that as Karma playing with her food. Karma's just out there, kind of batting them around until and then Karma's a bitch, and she's going to take care of things. And Lady Justice here. So yeah, I have faith in our Constitution and us. How are they going to respond? Here is King of Pentacles. I'm going to put more cards on this probably, but I'm feeling like this is how we're taking care of people. the kings and queens, they represent leaders, or or at least leadership type qualities. And instead of this fleecing of America for the oligarchs, there needs to be a coming to Jesus moment with these oligarchs of, no, we the people are not standing for this anymore. The foundation, how do we take care of people? How do we take care of families? And putting this to rest. And both of these cards here are cards of, this is one of literally crossing the river Styx, and then this is laying in rest. So yeah, their little wannabe, dictator, authoritarian Project 2025, wet dream is coming to an end. We are putting it to rest, and we are moving on from it, and they will be held to account, and justice will prevail. And yeah, this, I wonder about these two cards here, because this is giving me that the oligarchs and the Mad King Don here, the Emperor has no clothes feel. What do we need to know about their response besides wanting to flee the country? Now, in that one reading I got, that I truly do not see that Trump is going to try to flee. I really don't. I got in that reading that was probably his family that's going to try to get him out of the country, but he himself, he's a malignant narcissist, and for him to flee the country, he would have to admit that he was wrong, and that I swear to God, his last dying breath will be that he won the 2020 election. How sad is that? What a sad little man he is. So, he really is just that. And I did those cards and I was like, this doesn't even make sense. I don't know that I can even read on him anymore, because it's fucking insane. It's just like his pudding brain is like the nicest thing you can say about his mental state right now. So what is it that we need to know about, how they're going to react here to, and Disney and Hulu, boy, and ABC, they got a taste of what the people have to say whenever they took Jimmy Kimmel off the off air. It's like, yeah, we got him back in about a week. So we have power. We the people have the power, and they're seeing that in just small ways. Just wait until they get a big old bunch of it here. So how are they going to react to this? What do we need to know? What more do we need to know about the oligarchs and Mad King Don? And with that, they're done. It's like the world card is one of, you have achieved, you have done all, it's like, you fuckers have done all the damage that you can do, get the hell out of the people's house. Okay? That is what that card is. With, and it isn't going to be any one thing, which I never really felt like. I feel like the Epstein files are absolutely a big portion of it. Election fraud, election interference, the tariffs, the taking away our rights, or trying to, which they can't, because remember, we the people, we embody our Constitution. And by exercising our rights, we make sure that those rights aren't taken away. Okay. And do not obey in advance. And then, I'm seeing things like what they've done to the immigrants, what they've done, shooting those, or, blowing up those boats off the coast. It's not even off the coast of Venezuela. They're Venezuelan boats in international water. We have no business doing what we're doing. It's crimes. It's like crimes against humanity. But that is what's going to take out this entire administration. And yeah, new beginnings. This Ace of Pentacles. Let me look at this. This is also, what do I need to know more about this Ace of Pentacles? I think it's just that they cannot defend themselves against these policies any longer. This could be those policies and the way it's affecting people in our lives. And I tell you what, those tariffs hit, whew. Yeah, the betrayal to the people. And they cannot, injustice. There comes Karma with her sword of justice. Lady Justice and Karma are going to be okay, so Lady Justice and Karma are going to be tag teaming on this administration, and I really love that for this administration so much. I hope they have the criminal trial they deserve with this. So yeah, no, they can't. Let me see. Is this going to be sooner rather than later? Let me just do final messages here with this, and then I'm going to wrap this up. They're the devil. Trump is fucking Satan, okay? Remember, we're going to laugh where we can. And that we, the people, and also I get this as the, for the Epstein survivors, bring in the receipts. And, oops, that was Queen of Swords, Lady Justice. Yeah, they're going to be brought to justice. Good for them. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting. I've been getting a lot of really powerful imagery. I know it comes by way of the Grinch, okay? But that, yeah, we're all going to be little who's in Whoville. Embodying our rights and our Constitution, and that we are not going to obey in advance. In fact, we are going to have a joyful presence of fuck you, make me. Okay, so have a wonderful time out there on Saturday. Be safe. If you have any safety concerns, absolutely consult with your local organizers for the parade. Let's go out there and let's show this administration that the American people are not to be fucked with, okay? We are going to be joyful. We're going to be happy. We're going to be peaceful. And for every action of hate and lies, we're going to stand in strength and truth and joy, okay? So have a wonderful time. I am not going to have any readings come out on Saturday. Probably not going to have any reading come out on Sunday. I just kind of want us to enjoy this weekend. And then I do have the explosion reading that I'm going to record here. And I'll probably have that come out on Monday, unless like something big happens and I need to like push that off again. But I'm going to be looking at that the judge in South Carolina, her home that exploded, which the so far investigators have been like, oh, it was an accident. And then the ammunitions plant, I'm going to be looking at that and see if there's any connection like that. So that'll be the reading that comes out probably on Monday. So have a wonderful weekend. Like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next reading, which will be on Monday. Have a great weekend.